I'd like to take you on a journey this evening where you can begin to really own what is most authentic for you. So I invite you to close your eyes, and I promise I won't jump off the stage to go sifting in your purses or your wallets, so you're safe. But I invite you to really close your eyes and just settle into your bodies. And together, let's just take in a deep breath in and breathing out. And again, deep breath in, breathing out. And as you take in another deep breath in, bring into your awareness a time in your life where you relied on your gut feeling to make a decision that was seemingly irrational at the time, yet turned out to be one of the best decisions you made in your life. And really feel into that moment where you decided, yes, I know this decision feels true. And as you breathe in, just feel the feelings of your body at that moment and notice what happened. Did it feel expansive? Perhaps you were light. Maybe there was butterflies in your stomach, or there was a sense of excitement or peace. And still with your eyes closed, bring yourself back to the present moment here. And honor how that one choice has brought you to where you are today. So go ahead, open your eyes. So just to show hands, or you can simply nod, how many of you were able to recall an experience when you relied on that gut feeling? All right, you guys are awesome. So we've all had that experience at least once in our life when we trusted in that inner voice. That inner voice, gut feeling, sixth sense, that is your intuition. Your intuition is your ability to know what is true for you at any given moment. Your intuition is not some airy fairy, only some magical people are born with this power. But it is a practical, innate, internal ability that each and every one of us have. You are born with it. And there are some people who can tap into it a little bit more easily than others, but just like any other skill set, the more we practice, the better we become. And so I know that one of my biggest intuitive-based decisions has brought me into the work that I do today. So I believed growing up that I couldn't create a life doing what it is that I loved, following my heart, pursuing my passions. And so I was an artsy-fartsy type growing up, and when I graduated from college and art school, I didn't believe that I can live this creative path. And so what I did in my 20s, I freelanced my way through life, where I dabbled in all these creative pursuits. I was a graphic designer, a photographer, a decorative painter, a muralist. I taught high school. And all the while I was doing this, I was developing my skills as an intuitive and psychic reader, energy healer. And in 2007, I was an art director for an after-school program. And in this whole entire year, I became physically sick every other month with a harsh cough and cold. And I was like, I totally know why I'm getting sick. It must be these germy kids. But I was wrong, because after I left the position in fall, I ended up still getting sick for the rest of the year. I woke up 2008, New Year's Day, with absolutely no voice. I was in complete silence. I couldn't even let out a whisper. And it was like that for a whole entire week. And I knew that I was in this place of silence because I had to check in and go within. And what I realized at that time was that I was extremely unhappy. I was physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted. I had no idea what I was doing with my life, and I felt completely lost. So in this desperation, I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing with myself here? And this voice rose up and said, do what you love. And I'm like, do what you love? That's so cliche. Do what you love and the rest will follow. But I decided to dive in a little bit deeper, and I asked myself this. I said, okay, so if I can wake up and just do something that I loved and made me totally happy and it made time fly by, what would that be? And again, that voice came up from within, and it said, paintings and giving readings. I knew I couldn't go back to this unfulfilling life that I had before. And I didn't know where this would take me, but I trusted and I committed to the path which has now brought me to where I Love Intuition is today. So if we all have this super rock star internal GPS system that continuously creates opportunity, saves us time, money, heartache, then why are we not using it more often? What is really getting in the way? And it's this frenemy that we all know so well, and that is fear. But I want to be specific because there are two types of fear that I see show up over and over again when I teach intuition development with others. And that is the fear of change and the fear of being alone. Because when you are creating a life that you desire, fulfilling your dreams, your intuition is always going to guide you to do something that's beyond your comfort zone, right? Because everything that we want and to experience that we haven't yet experienced is going to be outside of what we know. And as human beings, we are creatures of comfort. We love our routines and every single show that comes on Thursday nights that we want to watch. And the ego, and when I refer to the ego, I'm talking about the fear-based mind. So the ego does not like to shake things up at all. It likes to know what it knows, even if what it knows is miserable. And so as you embark into new opportunities for yourself, this fear of change is naturally going to rise up within. So I remember after about a year or so, just diving in full time, giving readings, I remember one particular session where this woman came to me, and after the session, I felt really sad. And I was overwhelmed with worry and concern for her, and I was wondering, is she going to take this guidance and insight that she was seeking and actually go out and take action with it so that she can create the change that she wants to see in her life? And I never really felt this discord ever before because I was pretty detached after I gave a reading, and I didn't really worry about how these people took the information and what they would do with it afterwards. So I felt like, wow, okay, so there has to be something more that I can do to help my clients. And I didn't really know how that looked, but I asked my intuition for guidance. So for 2 weeks, every single morning in my meditations, I asked this question: how may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve? And, of course, your intuition talks to you pretty loud. So 3 times, life coaching came up. And I was like, life coaching? What the heck is life coaching? I was like, people need a coach to just live? I was like, that's crazy. And I totally didn't know what it was. But I know that if something shows up multiple times, then I better be listening to that. So I did my research, and I was like, oh, shoot, this is pretty cool. This is exactly what I feel like this is what's going to help my clients even more. And I was like, awesome, intuition is my rock star. Totally love how she gives me all these answers. And then she goes, so go off and get a certification. And that's when all these fears of change started rising up within. Because I was like, a certification, and that's not a weekend workshop. My ego was like, girl, that's a 2-year program. You know that, right? And I'm like, okay, well, it's going to cost this much. I know it's a significant financial investment. And my ego was like, Girl, you haven't even finished paying for your school loans? Come on now. You can't afford that. And then there's this, okay, it's going to take some time and focus, and I got to show up for classes. And then my ego was like, you don't want to do that. You don't got time for that. But I knew not to listen to that fear. Because when I stepped into that space of making that decision, it felt like that, right? You remember feeling that expansiveness, that lightness, when you really trust in your gut feeling? That's what it felt like. And so I stepped in and I dived in. And it's really been beautiful because it's allowed me to really deepen the work that I do with others and expand my practice even more. So you see how you can begin to really ignite your ability to tap into this resource, your intuition, simply by asking, how may I serve? Or asking, what's my next step? Listening, and being aware of that chatter that can show up, that fear of change, all the reasons why you shouldn't do this. Which brings me to my next component of fear, which is the fear of being alone. Ooh, everyone felt that, right? That's really scary. Because if I step into a choice that feels so good, feels authentic and true, but I'm taking the chance that my parents are going to disapprove, my friends are going to think I'm crazy, and then I'm going to walk forth, and then no one's going to be there to support me in this decision, that freaks us out, right? Because as humans, we have a deep desire to be loved and accepted. Every single one of us has that. And so we seek outside of ourselves for guidance, advice, opinions, and that is all natural and necessary at times. Yet there comes a time in our lives when we have to let go of the perceptions of what other people want for us and what they think that we should do so that you can step into your path of brilliance. So I just went through this rough terrain of fear of being alone for myself. I just got divorced a month ago from being married for 5.5 years. And the thing about our situation was that there was nothing wrong. We were best friends, we loved each other so much, we championed each other's gifts and talents, totally #1 fans of each other. We had great communication, never argued, traveled, had tons of fun. Yet there came a time in our relationship where we felt that in order for us to be our best selves, we had to let each other go. And that was one of the hardest decisions I had to make in my life. Because for over a year, I navigated these thoughts of, holy shit, what are my Catholic freaking parents gonna think? And his Catholic parents gonna think of us? And what are our friends gonna think of us when there really is no real reason? And to think, oh my God, I'm gonna be single? Who's gonna wanna be with a psychic? It's like, they can't lie to me, right? They know they're not gonna be able to get away with it. But there came a time where we really had to step into a choice, and not based upon what other people wanted for us, but on what was going to make us happy. You know what it's like to trust your intuition. You felt that moments ago. And you know that there is this crazy, loud voice of the ego that can come in and just tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't listen to that voice, why you shouldn't change. And you now can be aware of how this fear of being alone can keep you from stepping into a path that you know is going to make you happy. So my request for you is that as you embark on creating a life that is passionate, delicious, yummy, purposeful, joyful, is that you choose to ignite your intuition power rather than giving your power to these fears. And knowing that as you trust your intuition, it will guide you every step of the way. Thank you.